Hey everyone, this podcast is part of Story Mode, the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. You can support us and gain access to other great exclusive podcasts at patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds. Hey everyone.
Hi.
Hey.
I am David Bell.
I'm Tom Ryman.
I'm Starline Hodge.
And we just watched A Wrinkle in Time.
Yeah, we did. We watched the shit out of it. Watched that entire movie.
We heard a cry out in the universe.
My father's alive.
We believe he is, and we're here to help you find him. We are in search of warriors.
Warriors who serve the good and the light in the universe.
You're kidding.
Do I look like I'm kidding?
A little. I'm not.
Okay. All right.
So, I don't think none of us have read the book.
No.
So we went in.
I had no idea. I had barely seen the trailer.
I went in with trailer, and I just liked the effects in the trailer. I was like, oh, okay. This didn't tell me what this movie's about. That's a good trailer.
I think I might have only seen the posters. I don't think I watched any trailers, but it's just, I know the book because it's like, it's in every elementary school library ever. So you'll just see it like a poster of it on the wall. It's
yeah.
like, Wrinkle in Time.
I've heard about it. I'm
it.
like, I know that book, but
Yeah.
I think like my teachers assigned like Tuck Everlasting as like the time.
I didn't even know the book. Yeah.
You didn't even know it existed?
So I won. This
You had no idea what this even was.
No, I didn't know the book.
Oh,
I was shocked when Chris Pine showed up.
Really?
Chris Pine showed up. I was like, oh,
That's immediately.
Chris Pine.
Yeah, that's
First-
like right away.
Oh yeah, that's the first thing.
Because
but
he's
it
the
just-
dad.
It was just like, I did not know that. I knew Oprah was in it.
Oprah.
I'm delighted that she's in it.
Okay. So
It's a good kids movie. It's 100% a kids story.
On the ride back, me and Tom,
we allowed ourselves one piece of discussion, and it wasn't even really discussion.
yeah, we had both been reminded of another movie
We're like, yeah, it was.
while watching this movie.
Oh,
Like
okay.
I had a comparison in mind, and I was like, well, I did too. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, let's what comparison were you thinking? And we both said the Neverending Story.
Here's the thing. I maybe watched that movie once when I was very, very small, and I remember being terrified and hating it.
Yeah.
And never watched it again. I thought every visual that's conjured up in my head about Neverending Story is a monster nightmare in my brain.
It's a hideous nightmare.
Well,
yeah,
there were moments in this movie where I was like thinking about the kids who were behind us watching and being like, are they all right? Like, there's just a few
Yeah.
moments.
Oh
I was
yeah,
like,
there's also that
God.
element of like this is like baby's first acid trip kind of thing
Yeah.
where you're
Yeah,
like,
it's
oh man, I
a-
kind of wish I was a little high for this. It would
It's
have been like a nice buzz.
I will absolutely take acid and go see this movie.
it's a super. What made me think of Neverending Stories? First of all, it opens the same way, like the camera soaring through the clouds. So immediately, like I was like, "Oh, this is like the Neverending Story." And then as it
Okay.
folds, it's kind of a confusing storyline with super fantastic elements.
Yeah.
It's pretty disjointed, and there's some like really crazy.
I-
Like the main monster is basically like it is basically the nothing.
yeah.
Right. There was some stuff in it also like the Neverending Story or Labyrinth where there was stuff I was delighted by, but I don't think the movie wanted me to be delighted by it. The way
Yeah.
David Bowie's giant bulge.
Yeah, there's a
delighted
lot
a
of
generation.
unintentional comedy in this film.
The one that sticks out for me is Giant Oprah. I laughed every time I saw her on screen.
Giant Oprah was.
It wasn't
I
like
loved it.
Well,
it
that
was
wasn't
so
a,
cute.
like,
Like to me, it was just like, oh, okay, this is an animated movie with live action
Yeah.
people. Like I kind of wish I'd seen this done like Miyazaki style.
oh yeah.
Like if this was like a Spirited Away.
Well, yeah, when Reese Witherspoon turns into the creature that you see
the
it on,
horrifying leaf dragon.
you see it on
Yeah.
the cover of like every
The lettuce monster?
like every version of A Wrinkle in Time has that
Oh,
monster.
okay.
It's,
I was
See,
it's-
wondering why
it
that
doesn't-
again,
was familiar. I was like,
it
why
doesn't
do
look
I like?
it doesn't look exactly like it, but
Okay, again, that threw me way off.
I was
Yeah, I was
really
really surprised. I was like, what is happening? I was like, oh, she's a leaf monster now.
yeah.
Okay.
I brought it up because you mentioned Miyazaki, and that monster that she turns into looks a lot like the thing that Howl turns into in Howl's Moving Castle.
Yes, it did. Yeah.
which is another fantasy adaptation that is nothing like the book. I've read very briefly reviews and stuff on the way back here about this film, Wrinkle in Time, and it's apparently just like nothing like the book, which is fine because none of us had read it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't even have any concept of what the book was about.
Yeah, all this did was make me want to go. I'm like, I feel like if there's a book version of this movie, I would assume it's more heady. And that made me more interested in maybe reading the book.
So like the basic premise is these two this husband and wife scientist team figure out the mathematical equation that allows you to bend space-time with your thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
which
that
is
was
like,
insane.
I guess.
What?
It's never entirely explained. Like it's like Chris Pine is the dad and he goes missing. He successfully bends space-time and he goes missing for 4 years, and the two children have to go rescue him. And that's the basic plot of the movie. He's trapped at the end of the universe in the clutches of the It.
It immediately baffled me because they eventually did explain, but for the longest time they don't explain like what happened to him.
No.
And I just knew he was like a NASA scientist and he disappeared. And
I thought he disappeared in a rocket ship.
Yeah, me
for
too.
About
I
the
figured-
first,
I thought he
for
was
about the
sent to
first
space.
40 minutes.
I thought he
Because
was
they
sent to space, and then
Yeah.
they showed how he disappeared. I was just like, oh, you. I was just like, all right, because the whole time which I will say I appreciate, where the movie didn't disappoint in the sense of the way they handled the dad, because the whole time, mind you, this is also self-reflecting. I was just like, okay, it's a movie about a girl dealing with dad abandonment issues. I'm like, ooh, and she looks exactly like me.
I know.
And I was like, ooh, I'm gonna relate to this.
when that scene happened, when she finally meets back up with him, I'm like, I was like, I bet this is fucking Star Up right now.
I was just like, but like they did it right. They did it right because she was immediately like, oh, okay. And then like
she's mad at him,
and then she showed his face, and then she was mad. And I was just like, thank you for showing the anger, because that would be a factor.
And it has to end with him apologizing.
Yeah, and it did, and I was just like, you did that right, because if
Yeah.
it was just a straight up like, yeah, I wanted to go see the universe, thanks for finding me, I'd been like,
Well, he got. I don't think he meant to.
He got trapped.
He
Yeah, I'm
saw
not
the
even
shimmer. He was like,
sure.
oh, I'm gonna, and then he got stuck there.
Yeah.
But they made it a point to say that he also kept exploring.
Yeah, that's true. Like
He
kept going,
figured out how to do the what did they call it?
the tesseract.
The tesser.
And they call it tessering.
Tessering. He figured out how to tesser, and then instead of immediately going, ooh, I figured it out.
I should go back.
I should
Yeah.
go back
No, he
and
kept
like
going.
tell my amazing wife, hey, we figured this
Who
out.
I left in the other room with our just brand new adopted baby.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna leave.
Once it was figured out, I was like, oh, you could just go back? You could just like go back. I was like, oh, he's an asshole. He just kept going. Oh, and then they addressed that. They addressed that whole thing. That's the second abandonment scene. I was just like, oh, this this movie. I see what you're doing. I'm appreciating that this guy isn't like a saint. And then in the end, I was just like, okay, they're gonna have to work out through some issues. It's like okay, like reunited family, but it's not like happily ever after. And I liked that a lot.
It's another thing that reminded me of Neverending Stories.
Yeah.
Neverending Stories about a father and son who are trying to deal with the loss of the mother. And the first scene in the movie is the kid's dad just being like, you need to get over your dead mom.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
shit.
The movie just going through the first of all, tessering sounds like something like a hot new craze the teens are doing.
Yeah.
Yes.
But just going from the start, the movie, I had troubles with the movie before they tesser because every adult was a terrible person in the beginning.
Every adult.
This girl lost her dad. It's been 4 years.
Well, except the mom. The mom wasn't terrible.
No, she was terrible too. I'll explain why. Because
Okay.
she's at school. Like the little kid overhears two teachers being real shitty.
Also,
And then he yells at them, and they're like, "Don't you talk to me!" And that happens twice.
Those-
Then the principal is just like, "You should get over your dad."
Yeah.
You know he's not coming back, and she's like, "Fuck you." He should have had some sort of crisis training where like you don't talk to a kid that way when they've lost a parent. You just don't.
4 years or
Yeah.
not.
And
I
then
also,
she's like, "Fuck you," and then the mom's like, "You need to write him an apology note." And it's like, why is nobody on this girl's side?
All of
She
that
lost her
made
dad.
I mean, I was like, oh, kid movie logic. All the adults are jerks, but honestly, all of the adults made sense to me in the context of adults are shit. Like, here's the thing. I also related to Meg in the sense of like everyone's suspicious all the time. That's just the world.
Yeah.
So every adult action, it was just like, yeah, I know adults who are like that. I know a principal who would be like that. And even the mom being like, you got to apologize. To me, that came from the aspect of, girl, you're like the only black girl in this school. Like, we can't, it sucks. You have to play the game. Like, that's how I took that scene of like, we have to do this. Sorry. But even though that wasn't like the overt thing, but that's how I personally interpreted it.
The overt thing, because they say it in the film, but they never directly connect it to. There's a lot of times that the film sets up things that I think are meant to be themes that they just never connect. Like it's the fact that she reacted with violence. Like she hit the girl that was being mean to her in the face. The principal says it, but her mom doesn't reinforce that. And then we don't really get that again until later on in the movie when the three misses are like when the darkness penetrates the earth, it takes people one person at a time, and it takes the fear that they feel about themselves and the world, and it turns that into rage, and then rage becomes violence. Yeah. But they don't connect that with what she did in the beginning of the film, which I think they were supposed to do.
Yeah, there was
that
a few.
Makes sense.
Like,
there was some
their
script
whole thing
issues.
in the beginning, they're like, when Mrs. What's-It shows up and was just like, oh, there's so much light and love in this room. And she's like, and then she sees Meg, and she's just like, maybe that's
they don't connect it.
And I'm like, oh, is she gonna use the darkness in her like later to like fight it? You know, I thought that would have been a thing, which they kind of do with the faults.
But again, they never connect the fact that all the self-loathing that she was feeling and the anger about Luth. The theme is there. I think it's meant to be there as a connection. They just don't make the connection.
Because the thing is, those feelings are there's a righteous anger. There's sometimes it's okay to be mad. I think maybe that's probably why they didn't connect it to her. It was like, no, she's allowed to be mad there.
You're allowed to be mad, but you're not.
Maybe not throwing the ball in the girl's face. But honestly, no, that girl kind of deserved the ball in her face.
Yeah, the girl was a piece of shit.
She deserved it, but like
she left a note. She literally left a note on the locker, like, "Hope you disappear like your dad." Like that's what the fuck, like.
And again, this is why
shit.
it felt like the adults were idiots, because the principal would absolutely. I guess he wouldn't say it to her, but he'd like that's unacceptable.
Like, and that's where it was like kids movie thing where I'm kind of like, in real life, I'd be like, I would hope she would show the note. She's like, she left this on my locker. She insulted my little brother. She keeps implying that she wants me to disappear. These are actual threats. Yeah. That's like actual assaulty threats. Yeah, show this to the parent. I want my mom in the room when you show this. I'm like, this is what this girl, next door neighbor, has been doing. I think she's gonna kill me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's like you don't leave like veil.
Well, she's not gonna kill her after she saw giant Oprah in her backyard.
Oh my god!
Which the whole neighborhood saw.
I hope more people saw giant Oprah.
I want to talk real quick about the two teachers you mentioned, David, where the little brother overhears them talking bad about their parents.
Shitty teachers. Yeah,
they're the worst actors.
Yes,
in the world.
Yeah, they were not
delivering the worst expository dialogue in the world.
Yeah, this movie had a lot of problems with like the opening.
Also, I feel like those teachers would be talking about that stuff in the teachers' lounge.
Yeah,
you wouldn't say that anywhere near children could hear. So they're also shitty teachers.
They're shitty teachers,
and that's why I mean that they're shitty adults, since they're bad at doing their job.
I think
they're bad at being.
That's
around
for
kids.
drinks after work.
Yeah,
I thought the movie really picked up once they get to the Nothings planet, the It's world. Like that's in my opinion, the best scene in the entire movie is the cul-de-sac with all the kids bouncing the balls.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah. See, for me, it was the moment Oprah became giant.
Giant Oprah.
That was I was on board.
Or
with
the
movie.
moment when they get to the planet and the three misses are there and they're like, "We can't stay, but we have gifts for you." And then Oprah says, "I have a gift for you." I was like, this is a perfect moment. Reach under your seats. Everybody's got a new car. And that's one of my, like, overall, I think the movie was...
It's bees! Have you seen that?
Everybody,
yeah. That's such a good...
Bees! And it would have made sense in that movie.
Yep.
She's like, I give you the power of bees.
The power of bees.
And then later on in the movie, Meg just calls, she's like, bees!
I summoned the bees!
Oh, that would have been awesome.
I think this movie is not very good.
Well,
and I thought the first half of the movie was bad.
There's all right. They never establish. They should have opened with the father disappearing. They should have opened with that scene they have in the middle, so we understand what's going on. Also, they don't explain a lot of the little kid who's like weird. They never really explain why he's weird.
They never explain his motivation.
There's
they never explain why he's a super genius. They never give you any indication that he's been conversing with the dark side.
Or why he's so... they show him drawing, and he's like drawing the misses.
Yeah.
But I feel like I would give this movie a B, like a good B, but as a kid's movie. Do not bring a teenager to this.
No, this movie isn't for us.
I mean, college students, no. Go unless you're going high, then sure. But
go high, but go late, so you don't run into too many children.
Yeah. But I feel like as like a solid like children's movie. This would be fine, and like I would rewatch this with like children,
because kids are done.
I think I think it takes entirely too long to get them to the fantasy world.
Yeah,
it's like 30 minutes before they get to the fantasy world.
It was losing me.
And I think I kept imagining it animated. Like every time I was just like, because animation does all these. It did all the shortcuts.
Animated, but it
does all the shortcuts that you would see in like a Miyazaki movie, where like there's a lot of parts. So you'll watch that where you're like, ooh, this would emotionally hit, but I see you only have this much time to like get to all these parts. So they do shortcuts, and you're just kind of just accept it because you're like, oh, cartoon. And even though this movie doesn't really have that excuse, it's real, it's a movie. That's my brain, as soon as it clicked of like, okay, we're big. Honestly, Big Oprah made me go, this is a cartoon. Now cartoon brain, and it swapped the way I was judging the movie.
Big Oprah, that sequence. God, Big Oprah.
She's just hanging out, being giant.
That should have been no later than 10 minutes into the film.
And for a movie that takes so long to get to it, they don't spend any time explaining characters. Like the little brother, also the romantic interest, the boy.
Calvin.
He's just there.
He just shows up.
He's just there looking real cute, and I was just like, oh man, like 10, 11-year-old Star would be super into this kid just looking around being pretty.
The producers knew they needed that eye candy.
He was like he was like a soulful...
But he shows up.
He got good at stare. That stare, the I have a crush on you stare, but it's not, you're almost creepy, but you don't go there because you're young enough to like hold that back. I was like, you got that down. Use that when you're older, kid.
But like, do they introduce him before he shows up?
You see him in the classroom.
You see him in the classroom, and you see him on the when she hits the bully girl in the face, the basketball. You see him there
because he does just appear. He just disappear. Also,
and his was like, "What are you doing here?" He's like, "I don't know. I just felt like I was supposed to be here." I was just like, "Oh, you guys just rode right over that."
Well, here's the other thing: is what told him to be there because he was useless. Did he do anything?
He was supposed to negotiate, and they never showed him negotiate.
She just drags him along.
Yeah. They set that up, and it never really they don't explain how the little boy knows any of this stuff is supposed to happen. They don't even give us an indication that he's like thinking about other things. I know there's an example of a movie that does this, and it's escaping me right now, so this might even have to be cut out. But like, give us like in that really laborious first part where you're just the only information you're showing us is that Meg is sad that her father is gone, and it's having a very negative effect on her. It's like we can get that information in way less time.
Maybe talk about like, because he was drawing them, like maybe he was writing stories. Maybe he's like an artist kid who draws stories, and it's just like, oh, he's just drawing his stories again.
Yeah, or like,
and so when the mom sees Miss What's-It, she's like, oh, this fucking drawing, like something where
have him be looking through a telescope or something. It's like, oh, I'm talking to the I've been thinking about how to get back to Dad. I think I can figure out how to get,
even
like,
if he mentioned
anything.
Mentioned the it earlier on, where he's just like, we can't let the it get. And you're like, oh,
they just drop that shit on us.
He's just a little kid, just being like, you can't let the darkness get to you. You'd be like, all right, he has like imaginary friends or something.
Yeah, he's like some creepy kid.
Yeah, they don't mention the evil until they're gloriously riding on Dragon Reese Witherspoon's back, and then they see what looks like just like a fart.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, I don't think Lyft works that way.
And then like they land, and this is like around the 45-minute mark. They get back down, and then Oprah's like, "Oh, I guess we should tell them about the darkness that's consuming the universe." Didn't think we should mention it as we're combing the universe for your vanished father.
And they weren't. This is.
And they're like, why are you helping us? I was like, yeah, why are you helping? Everything Meg asked, I was just like, she has the point.
They never answer it.
Yeah.
No, they said they're like, we're like, essentially, we're goddesses of light who like help people.
Sure, yeah. That's fine.
And I was like, okay, kids movie. They're just, but I kept waiting for the turn I was so suspicious of everybody who was really nice the whole movie. I was like, okay, the dad's gonna be evil. Okay, like Reese Witherspoon's character is gonna be evil. It's gonna be turn out she's like the dark. Like I kept expecting the turn because, I mean, movies do that now, and it didn't. It was just like lighthearted and nice the whole way through.
Everything is what it was on its face, except for the cul-de-sac scene, which I think is the best scene in the movie, and then the next scene with Michael Pena. Really, from the cul-de-sac on, like I was with this movie.
Oh yeah,
I was like, this movie's pretty sweet.
The moment Michael Pena turns into a puppet and then falls apart, that was one of those moments where I looked like back at the kids, like, are they all right?
The whole scene where he's feeding them. And the kids just Calvin's wolfing it. Sand. They should have done more with that.
They should have done more with him. I was like, was there no consequence to him eating sand?
Like it suddenly turned. He's been wolfing down sand.
Yeah,
stuff like that should have maybe been in there. But I still liked what they did do in the film, where it's just like he's wolfing it down. The little kid takes one bite. He's like this, and it like really looks disgusted. And he's like, this tastes like sand. And then he bites something and you're like, oh, this also tastes like sand. Because then everybody watching is like, oh shit, that other kid's eating sand. He's loving lots of sand.
He did nothing.
And Meg was just like, I'm not going to eat shit because we were told. It's just like, dude, why are you eating the food?
Yeah, if you go to another planet that is sinister, don't eat anything. Just stay away from food in general.
Yeah, and then they randomly introduce when they use the tornado to get over the wall.
Right.
Like she's like, she just does a quick velocity and then this.
She uses her science powers.
They never introduced that.
Well, they say she's a good student.
I get that she's the children of
brilliant scientists. I mean, like she was doing the science experiments with her dad in the beginning.
Oh, that's true.
You get that she was like all about it. Which is like, I mean, that's the only scene where you realize that's how close she was to her dad.
Yeah,
because
I guess I didn't understand what was happening in that scene because I didn't know they were scientists.
Oh, really?
No, not until like they tell you that this guy, this NASA scientist vanished.
I'm forgetting the order of stuff now.
While we're watching that opening scene where he's like giving her the glasses and just doing cool stuff on, like I didn't connect that he's a.
There's no exposition on TV. They say it's been 4 years
on the radio.
Yeah.
On the radio, right? Radio exposition
in the middle of the night. As that scene was.
By the way, in the middle of the night, we're going to talk about the anniversary of this one particular dude's missing.
Then also, their presentation was amazing.
That was hilarious.
Because everybody laughed.
Here's the thing: he went off script, apparently. Which was was just like. Ooh, I was like, was this your presentation?
What was the regular script?
Well, he was building.
I think they were just talking about just trying to discuss the ability of maybe folding time, and he was going to stay to like the quantum physics aspect of it, and maybe leave out. You can do it with your mind.
But like the military was there, right? Did we see military in the audience?
Some military, but
so
it was
he was clearly like this was clearly like an important thing that they must have gotten that audience by convincing enough people. Like I felt like they must have been like NASA scientists working on some rocket, and it was like, almost done, and the funding, like it was a weird scenario of they have all these people's attention. He's not explaining science. He's just explaining like quantum physics and using the power of your mind, and then they all laugh because of course they do.
I didn't,
because that's an insane presentation to make.
Yeah,
why didn't he just say like, I'm building this thing?
That was a thing that confused me, is the science angle in the film, and I guess we needed it to like know how her parents were able to figure out you can bend space-time, but then it turns out you don't need it, but then you do. The movie's real inconsistent on that.
The reason the kids were able to do it was because since he was able to do it, he explained with the quantum, the only sciencey part that stuck in my brain, which was you could be on one side of the universe, on the other side of the universe, if you're all connected, which is actual quantum physics theory thing. But it's like it's like with atoms. They tried to make that be in the movie like that's love. So because the dad did it and he loved his kids
really hard,
and his kids loved him really hard, they were able to do this like crazy like mathematical.
It's just I don't.
Maybe
he said you can do. It's just the fact that in the presentation, he's like, you don't need a rocket ship, you don't need a vehicle, you don't need anything. But like when we see him travel through the universe, he's in a laboratory surrounded by computers with complex equations. And all of this stuff. So apparently you still need millions of dollars of computers to do this.
Yeah,
they was just figure out the formula.
But,
and then once you know the formula,
I guess because the kids don't have that fucking formula memorized.
Yeah, they did. They had it like on their wall. It was just around because it's like everybody who saw that formula technically did it. Because the little Calvin saw it too. He was in the room having lunch. And he was just like,
Jesus.
And he was just like,
Calvin
what's that about? And the mom's just like, is there a theory about traveling the universe with our brains? And all of them saw it. So maybe that's truly
Calvin
the key.
didn't memorize that equation.
Maybe it's like the brain. You just need to see it, and it's in your brain, and then you can do it.
Maybe, all right. Maybe the book is better about this, but really all they needed was for the dad to just disappear. It could have been Neverending Story where he disappears into a book, or he's just a portal appears and he's just in the shed just doing whatever.
I don't think it needed the science because it's a fantasy story.
Yeah.
Like so, just like you don't.
There was no science. They didn't get back using science.
No, we don't. We just need to know that's like
she just believed.
Yeah, like you can come up with some other.
But this plays into why I think it's good in the Neverending Story sense, in that it's a batshit film.
Yeah.
And like the part where she's in the hip hop video room, the white,
the place where More Money, More Problems was filmed.
The white room when she used the glasses.
And she starts
blueprints?
doing blueprints, and it was just like, this is fucking nuts.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that.
Well, that's the thing, is I imagine as a kid watching it, you'd be delighted, and it's one of those films when you become an adult and you go back and watch it and be like, what the fuck? Yeah.
Like the ballroom dancing scene in Labyrinth.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Labyrinth I've only watched as an adult. I never watched that as a kid, and I was just like, what is this movie?
Yeah.
Why is everyone into this?
Because you watch it as a
I'm
kid.
too old to enjoy or appreciate
Jump Magic
like how weird all of this is.
Oh man.
But it's the same premise of like, I don't like my little brother, and now he's gone. Now I'm gonna go get him.
Yeah.
She does like her little brother though.
But in the beginning she says she doesn't. Like she's just like, oh, this is a pain in the like she's just kind of like meh. So
no, I mean in A Wrinkle in Time.
Wrinkle in Time, yeah. So it's a similar presence of like
I
need to go get him, and then you're able to go get to them.
With that, here's like, and there's also like the boiling the milk. We don't understand the significance of that until the end of the movie. Like you couldn't have mentioned really quickly, like when she gets up and sees that he's boiling milk, which is a fucking crazy thing to do that people don't do.
People don't do that to warm up milk?
Why?
Warm milk.
Warm milk
sleep.
for why?
Helps you sleep.
Yeah.
Who does this?
My parents made me warm milk.
In every like kids movie, you give kids warm milk to help them go to sleep.
But she mentioned at the end of the film that it's her favorite thing to drink.
Oh, I just assumed that that's what it was for.
It's like boobs. It's boobs.
I was like,
when she lists all the we could have used just that piece of information because to me that didn't register. So it tells me that I'm probably not. Maybe like I'll accept that it's a low percentage of people, but I feel like I'm not the only person who would think that boiling a little boy up in the middle of the night boiling milk is weird or unusual.
I just took it along with like this kid he's like a little clever kid because she was like, why didn't you go to my room? I was like, oh, because I knew you'd be here. And then it's just like, oh, you're boiling milk. Like I assumed that was part of like a routine that they kind of do frequently.
I could use like one line.
But I also thought, because she says, you boiled a lot of milk. So I also thought he was boiling extra milk, hoping the dad would show back up.
That's what I thought too. Or those weird the fairies would show up.
I needed something there.
Yeah.
To make that connection. Because here's the one.
I hope people listening to this who don't see the movie yet and just like, fuck it, I'll be spoiled, and just being like, what the fuck are they talking about?
Yeah, this is we started going through the story.
Giant
but then it's
Oprah,
Giant
Big
Oprah's
Milk.
amazing.
I'm sorry, I have to keep talking about Giant Oprah because she turns giant in the neighborhood. And
she appears. She doesn't turn giant. She appears.
Oh yeah, she's appeared giant. And maybe it'd be
Giant
less funny
Oprah.
because I think Oprah is a good actress and should be in more things.
I thought she wasn't good in this.
No, I wasn't going to say she's good in this. I'm just saying in general, I like Oprah in movies. Mm-hmm. But I realized it'd probably be less funny if it wasn't Oprah because she's Oprah.
Oprah's a little distracting because she's Oprah,
but she's also a giant.
Yeah,
and I
thought Oprah was delightful,
and she was like,
oh, you're all right.
Oh yeah, no, but like.
I thought Reese Witherspoon was more Reese Witherspoony than Oprah being Oprah-y. I was like, Reese, calm it fucking down. I was just like, you're a Reese. Like, none of their character names, what's it and what's it who and which. It was whenever what's it was talking, it was like, oh, Reese Witherspoon is talking. When Oprah was talking, it was Oprah. When Miss Who was talking, I was like, oh, Mindy, you did a good job. You are Miss Who. Like I didn't think of her as Mindy
until they completely drop her thing.
Yeah, and then once they dropped her thing, I was just like, okay.
Well, all right. Here's real quick. There's just so many shots where they're just talking, and there's a giant Oprah in the background, and it just feels like does anybody notice the giant Oprah?
Gently caress giant Oprah's cheek, and they flew by. I was just like, oh, that's when I was like, cartoon.
Reach out. I'm obsessed with the Oprah. It's like it was like leaning over, and this is.
But
I won't. Let me not say that. It's like reaching out and touching a dolphin as you're like sailing by, just like some majestic creature. It's like I have to touch it.
She's like giant.
And I wanted people
was like into it. There was a lot of face touching in this movie.
I wanted her to be Oprah. Like I wanted it to be like, oh, it's Oprah. Like everybody to just know that she's just a magical being.
Miss Winfrey.
I was like, no, that's
And you're like, Miss Winfrey. What do you mean, Miss Winfrey? She's like, oh, did you not know Oprah was like one of the giant lights of the universe?
They name real people, including recently deceased real people, as being warriors of light in the world.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, okay,
all right.
So wait, so is Oprah not? Oh, this is Oprah. This is Oprah.
But like,
she just hung out on Earth wanting a TV show.
Let me revise. I said I don't think she's very good in this film. Let me revise that. I think her presence is correct. She had a lot of strange deliveries. She would take odd pauses in between. Like there was just a couple of lines where she took a strange pause or made a strange emphasis.
Well, I guarantee this is one of those films like Lord of the or more like The Hobbit, where there's a lot of B-roll of actors on a green screen. Like, okay, I'm doing what now?
I know.
What am I doing? Like,
because here's my one. No, there's two, but here's the first of my two legitimate just like complaints about the movie is that I want to say probably half the dialogue is delivered off camera. Did you guys notice that?
Yes. Yeah.
That was really strange.
It was very ADR.
A lot of ADR, yeah.
ADR or like just they're using the audio from a different take, but using the coverage of somebody else.
Like
and some of it's
camera angles, or because like it was
different,
or just location, because there was a lot of not actual locations, or if it was an actual place, maybe the sound.
Like a lot of it was like important dialogue.
Yeah,
but it would be on a different character, not on the person who's saying it. And I feel like that was like it was. I feel like it was like legit half of the dialogue in the film is delivered by characters when they're not actually on screen.
I wouldn't say half, but enough to be noticeable.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a real strange... If that's a decision, I thought that's a strange decision. And if it's because they just didn't have a good take... That's also strange because this is a $100 million Disney film.
Because their sound guy was like, "Oh shit, I haven't been recording this whole time."
Man, what if that was the case?
Yeah, the sound guy was just like, "Oh, you guys, I got some bummer news."
This whole movie.
Look, we only have Oprah for like 12 hours. We can't. Oprah's not coming back in for reshoots. Oprah does one take, and then that's the take you have. So I thought that was really strange.
I had to jump around. What's her name? Mindy Kaling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So her character can only speak in quotes,
and
the reason they give is because she's like too tired. Like her character, when they first meet her in that house, she like falls asleep, and they're saying like she's too tired to like come up with her own words, so she just uses others, or it was something they had some explanation.
It uses too much energy or something to use her own.
And then when she loses her powers, becomes weakened, she stops doing that. Yeah. That makes no sense.
Yeah.
Right?
Maybe it was the other way around. Maybe it's more powerful to use other people's words.
But I don't think they say that. I'm pretty sure they say that she does it because.
Yeah, I don't remember
I forget the exact wording of the.
It's something where it's like a time saver.
She does speak twice in quotes. The first time we meet her, she says like 2 or 3 different quotes. It's not a lot, and then falls asleep. And they're like, "Oh, we tired her out." So even if they did say the opposite, that's not what they showed us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was
It
very
could be just
confusing.
her on Earth. Maybe her being on Earth is very.
That was just a bizarre scene.
But she does it. She does
Anyway.
the quotes off Earth too.
Yeah.
It's only when they become weakened that she's like cutting the shit.
She's like, fuck
Because
it. I'm just gonna
personally,
talk like a person.
I could not deal with her if I had to if she was like my roommate. I'd be like, just fucking use normal words.
I was
For the
fine.
love of
It
God,
took a second
stop
to adjust,
quoting.
and I was just like,
No,
you're picking good quotes though. So I get what you're saying.
I liked it because it's such like a fantasy movie thing to have a weird character that has a weird quirk like that.
And she was using songs too, so it's like, oh, you have a wealth of words to use.
But then they just drop it,
because she just ran out of energy or something. Again, that's what was
but
so
even
weird
at the
about
end of
it.
the film when they're all restored, she just is speaking it's like, okay, she's gonna go back to her thing.
No, she doesn't. She doesn't go back to it. You're right.
It's really strange.
That is very weird.
My second thing, and it's about the music.
I like the music.
I didn't dislike the music. I think putting pop songs into a film is you're doing that to say a very specific thing, and when it's like a dramatic moment, I think it's completely distracting.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I see.
It's like
sometimes it can be. Sometimes it's Guardian of the Galaxy, and the point is for it to be distracting.
Right, but the scene I'm thinking about in particular is when they get magically transported to the beach. And
I kind of enjoyed that.
I felt that was the complete wrong tone to set for that scene.
I enjoyed to me, it made the world even more disorienting. Does that make sense? Because it was already you're in a weird place, weird stuff, and now this music is hitting, and it felt like, okay, are we entering a music video? But it still felt like it fit to me because it didn't fit, because this world didn't fit.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I was just like, oh, okay, we're just in some weird bonkers.
Right. It's just when you're and she does it a few times in the film where it's it's not montages or anything. It's big dramatic moments that are advancing the story or that are establishing the mood of a place. And these pop songs come in. And for me, once you start hearing for some reason, when it's a person singing I don't know, it's hard to explain. The best thing I can think of is it strikes me as very Disney Channel. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's
a very Disney Channel
it's a Disney
movie.
Film,
this is going to be played on Disney Channel all the time when it's on release.
Again, I guess I don't mind it. I don't notice music as much. It
seems like the wrong kind of movie to do that in.
Yes.
If that makes sense. I don't know, because then we're talking about Labyrinth too, and Labyrinth is full of David Bowie songs. But
that's what I was gonna file. I file it under batshit crazy kids movie again.
Yeah, I
where
like
there
that.
was a nostalgic part of me that was people don't make insane children's movies anymore.
Well, okay,
so it was fun to see that happen.
I take that
back. It was
back.
fun to see a maniac train wreck of a film.
It is a fucking maniac.
Aimed at kids and being like, man, this is great.
Yeah, and there's that nostalgia factor too. Was just wow, I feel like I'm watching a weird kids movie.
Yeah, and I had that thought. I was like, oh, this must have been what it's like to see Neverending Story in the theater. This is going to be kids.
Yeah.
When they're adults 20 years from now, this is going to be their Neverending Story. I want to retract my statement about Labyrinth. In Labyrinth, all the songs are sung by the characters in the film.
That's true.
That is true.
I will say, though, there must have been watching Labyrinth in theaters and being like,
oh, shit, I can't imagine being... if the three of us had just gone to see Labyrinth at this, if we had been 30 years old in 1987, 88, whenever it was, and just gone out to see Labyrinth and come back to record I don't know.
What was with his
on
dick?
tape, cassette tape.
Tape,
yeah.
a zine that we were going to distribute at some clubs. We would have been probably real baffled by it.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm sorry. Now I'm in that frame of mind. I'm like, we would have made a cassette tape, and somebody would have copied it, and then somebody would have copied it, and it would have spread
passed
around.
it out on the street.
And like,
zine, bro.
Want to hear the reviews?
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been fun.
Yeah, that would have been fun.
I think the fact that this movie doesn't make a real emotional connection, it doesn't have a truly emotional moment.
Oh no, I felt it when she rescued the little brother.
Yeah.
I was going to say until the last 20 minutes.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
Is a big problem with a film.
Yeah.
If you don't have an emotional connection for that long.
Yeah.
When she runs into her, for me, I feel like you didn't get your first real moment where you really felt what the characters were feeling until she finds her dad. I felt like that was the first moment.
I think I disagree because I feel like all the disconnect and the non-emotional connection, like I felt that was part of Meg's whole deal. Like no one was connecting because she had a hard time.
But I didn't
connecting.
I didn't feel that for the as the character. I felt that as a person watching the movie. Like I felt like I don't have any connection to anything that's happening. I don't really understand what's happening, and I feel like I'm not feeling that in the way that I'm not feeling that from her point of view, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Like I wasn't feeling that from her point of view. I was feeling that just from like I'm kind of like bored. Like I don't know what's like.
I don't know. I think I was with her. I think I was with Meg. Like I was just like, oh yeah, I wouldn't trust any of this shit. This is bonkers. What is going on? Why are you talking to that stranger? Like everything she did made sense to me.
Yeah.
All her actions. So like her like not connecting, her going to like what was it, the happy medium? Going to the happy medium.
Fucking Zach Galifianakis.
Oh my god, we gotta talk
in
about
this
the happy
movie
medium.
for no reason.
They go to the happy medium to like connect and like go use the connection she has to her dad to like locate where he went, like where he's traveled.
Why didn't they go to him first?
I don't think they realized how far he had gone.
What
I don't know. I don't know what the reason was, but they went to him, and I was just like, oh man, this is why are we here? Okay, fine. And like she was like, she couldn't do the balancing thing. It was like the scene where it's like, okay, she's a young teenage girl who's clumsy. Yeah. This is how she's relatable. Like every teenage girl character is very clumsy. I was like, you really doing that? But okay.
Yeah. That's the only time we see. Like when she mentions it at the end when she's listing her faults and says, "I'm uncoordinated." I'm like, "Are you?"
I was like, oh yeah, I guess the one scene where you couldn't balance on like the impossible rock.
I took that to mean that she wasn't, because in the next scene when she goes off to the side by herself with Zach Galifianakis and he's like, "You're not letting yourself do this."
Yeah, and that's where
that's how I interpreted it.
Also,
not that she's literally clumsy. She seems pretty good on her feet and shit.
She's good with the fucking ball when she whips it at the
but I mean that was like the distance was like,
and she was like she didn't fall off a lizard Witherspoon's back. Fucking Calvin did.
Yeah. He went too far.
Yeah, I was like, oh shit.
Well, the idea of that is that the wings were creating lift.
The way that
of her
the
lettuce
creature
fucking
was,
body.
Yeah, her fucking lettuce body was creating an updraft.
But I was like, but we're not aerodynamic. I don't think we'd work that way.
No, they would get pushed off.
Yeah. They would just as soon as she jumped, I was like, are you trying to get off? Like she would just fly away.
It would be like a sail. Like you. Because there's nothing, you would float up, but then the force of going forward.
All right, we don't know what kind of gravity is on that planet, I guess.
Yeah.
I was watching like someone was going to fall off, and then someone did.
And then that kid fucking fell off.
It would have been delightful if he just got
little
shredded
kid
by
going
some
evil
rocks.
scene. Really enjoyed.
Yeah. The scene where he's dragging him down the hallway.
Yeah. That was A+. I was like, ooh, this is terrifying. Yeah. Good
Filmed
job.
him upside down. Like, that was a good scene. Like, I'm telling you, from the cul-de-sac to the end of the film, I'm like, I'm with this movie.
That could do a solid Pet Sematary remake.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Little fucking shit maniac.
And I'm glad he kind of turned. I don't understand how him repeating numbers with
that's not clear. It's not clear why he turned. Because
doesn't matter.
I guess he had anger towards the father he'd never met, abandoning him.
That they never established.
But they never established that.
Yeah, they don't establish that at all.
Doesn't matter to me, though. I just delighted
Michael
it happens.
Pena casts an evil math spell on him.
Yeah.
His multiplication.
He's just like,
turns him evil.
Turns him evil. And you're like, oh, math, I guess, is bad.
Just
and then
fuck math, right?
And but he's such a good evil kid.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a turn, like, again, nobody, like, betrayed anybody in the sense of, like, they were bad the whole time.
No.
And I think I kind of wanted that. I wanted someone just being an evil person in the beginning.
Pine was like, let's fucking leave the kid behind.
Oh, yeah, I was just like...
I was really hoping, I was like, oh, do it, movie. Leave the little kid behind and just have it real dark at the end.
He did.
Yeah.
He did. He left that kid.
He left.
He was surprised as fuck when his...
Calvin.
He was surprised when both his kids showed up at the end. Like, he was like, not, because you think, I don't know how much time passed. How much time do you think passed?
It seems instantaneous.
Yeah.
Wait, he shows back up with Calvin and then like his daughter. And,
yeah, because the mother isn't like worried.
She thought they just stepped outside for a moment.
I like the idea that there was maybe a half an hour of time before
they're standing there in the yard and he's like trying to think of his story.
Yeah, because now the kids are gone, but he's back.
But he's sitting there with that little wiener
he's there with Calvin, who he doesn't know who this kid is.
Fucking kid is.
But he's just like, so what is your deal about?
What's your deal?
Like, I don't know, man.
What's your name?
Yeah. That
and
kid,
he's just like, oh, sir, I guess I like your daughter. Should I mention that now?
I want to.
He got out of there real quick as soon as Dad showed up.
I'm gonna go.
I love that. Yeah, me and Tom both laughed when the kid at the very end, the love interest, who's done nothing, no purpose, just turns to her and he's like, I gotta go home. And like, I was imagining him like leaving the house just like, Jesus Christ, to himself, like, not all right. And she was like, when she's like, I'll call you or something, I was wanting to be like, nah, I don't think.
Well, he says that
so.
he asked.
Okay,
yeah. But
he's also like, what is he? He's like, I guess I gotta go confront my dad now.
Yeah.
Like, you were having a day.
That kid, I don't know why he would do that. I'd be like, I think I'm gonna take a shower and go to bed. Like,
yeah.
I think I gotta lie down.
I'll give him a little credit for the I like your hairline, because I laughed at that when he
says it twice.
He says it twice. The first time he said it, I laughed because I was just like, oh, you're trying to like.
He's creepy in that scene, right?
He's a little creepy in that scene, and
Yeah.
it's just one of those things. Is like me growing up. But here's the thing: as an adult, someone telling me, "Hey, I like your hair," I laugh because I like my hair too. But it's like the pickup line where you're like, I don't know anything about you, so I'm picking the first feature that stands out to me to try to talk to you.
Yeah.
So you're like, well, you got big hair. I like your hair. So that's how that played off to me. So that's why I laughed. I was just like, oh, you like her. You have no idea what to say to her.
Don't say that.
Like, and it was just like, oh, like that's just like.
I got the impression they never hung out.
But then they later established like she's actually super self-conscious about her hair. So because as soon as she was just like, oh no, it's ugly. Don't. If there was like a table in the theater, I would be like, it is not. It is beautiful. I was like, who hurt you? I was like super defensive for her right away, just because it was like, no one who's telling you have bad hair. Your hair is amazing.
Yeah.
And then like later on when she kind of like accepts it because everyone's finally telling her like, you know, you're beautiful too. Like you're perfectly fine the way you are. Own it. And she starts to. So when he says it again later, I was just like, that feels more natural. And it actually feels like you're actually saying you like her hair. It's not because you're just like, I don't know how to talk to the girl I like.
Yeah.
Moment.
Yeah. Or like, in a way, it's like acknowledging that he now realizes she's self-conscious about it, and it's like being like, it doesn't matter, because he says it after she puts her hair up in a bun.
And he's just like, I like your hair, and I was just like, yeah, that's an appropriate. She's actually touching her hair in the moment. Like, there's a reason to talk about it. And then afterward, he's like, also, you're like smart as fuck.
Yeah,
I was like, good move, kid. Yeah. Good job.
You're like physics in the middle of a fucking evil monster storm.
She fought a tornado with science.
And she's just like, I guess.
She fought the tornado with science.
Oh, they would have totally died. That was a hard landing. I was just like, oh, this is broken bones,
hollow
right?
tree.
I was like, that's how did you figure out the landing part of the science?
Also, for people having not seen it, there's a tornado in this movie.
It's just
briefly.
Evil tornado.
That then just stops.
Evil tornado. Well, because the planet's alive.
What was that planet? They don't explain it really, because they're like,
evil
there's
planet.
they say like it's the it, and they show it, and it's this like big disease in space. So, and then when they were like, Chris Pine went to it, I'm like, where did he go? It's just this big blob, and then they land on the planet, and they're like, now be careful, this planet changes. And I was like, what is this planet?
And Chris Pine is stuck in like one of the tunnels from like McDonaldland Play Place.
He was in the room from what's his name's music video.
Drake.
Yeah, Drake's video. I was like, oh, he's in the Drake room. Yeah. Which, if they had played that song there,
you started doing the dance.
That would have been.
I'd like
that would have been great.
They should have played the song there.
He was even wearing a Drake sweater.
Yes, he was. I was just like,
oh shit,
that would have been like. I would like to see that on the Twitters, please.
Yeah.
Can you give me my remix?
Because in my memory, he's dressed exactly like Drake in that video. So I wonder if he actually is.
They should have played the song like it was playing on speakers in the room. Like it was just doing this for some reason.
He was like curled up in a ball, so he could have been in there just hearing that song forever.
Yeah.
No, I assume he got to that planet and then got absorbed within like how like all the little sand traps and the everything, and then he kind of I feel like he mentally got trapped there, not. Yeah. That he couldn't, because he was able to be like, oh, I got my kid, we're gonna mind travel away from here. I was like, so now you could do it.
No,
and
he was all
he had
fucked
motivation
up.
to do so.
Yeah, he said something like, I forgot how to love, but now that I'd forgotten what it felt like or something. But like,
yeah, I guess he's getting all.
But yet,
I
the
guess
love connected the kid to, anyway. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it's bananas.
It was weird.
I
He
guess-
straight up left his second kid.
He doesn't know that kid. They just bought that kid.
He just straight up left that kid.
They just bought that
He took other kid he didn't know, and he was just like,
he
well,
was just
fuck it,
trying to cut his losses. It was like,
Yeah.
okay,
He was like, I
like,
can't lose two.
right.
He literally said, I can't lose two. So
there's
I'm
never
gonna
going to
keep
be a
the one.
point later when that kid's going to be like, hey, Dad, remember the time that
He
you
might
gave me up?
the kid might not have heard, or might have been in all it zone at that point.
Yeah.
That's
But
it's
then, like,
possible.
He can't ever pretend like he doesn't have a favorite because he clearly showed his hand
He doesn't
there.
know that kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they picked that. Or also the math doesn't add up there because he disappears when mom is in the next room with infant Charles Wallace.
like not in because he was adopted, so he might have not have been adopted as a baby.
Yeah,
but
shot-
looked like-
he is like
No,
swell.
no, he was like a toddler size.
a
He
little
looked
toddler,
like
yeah.
maybe
Was he?
one or
Oh,
two.
okay.
He looked like
because
two.
they say 4 years have passed, and then she says he's 6 years old.
Okay,
Yeah,
he
that
looked
makes
like
sense.
a hardy little 2-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he looked younger than 2 to me, but I don't know.
He was big.
Was he big?
He was
Yeah,
holding up
I
his
don't
neck
think she
and
was
everything.
cradling him. It was weird.
Like it was
Although
like
she was
doing
boiling
like
milk for him.
she was doing
a
the
bottle.
side
That's a
the
little
side
too
half
old for
thing,
that.
like where it's like where the kid. Like, I'm pointing visually, like that matters for the podcast. He was just like, "Oh hey, hi." I didn't realize there's a camera. Hi, camera.
What's
Like
with the
the
milk?
weird cradling. Like imagine having like a big dog, like a dog, and then you're holding it like on the side and like kind of like that.
I don't know. She's boiling.
I don't know how to relate it to actual children, but I'm like a dog. Like it makes
Yeah,
sense if you're
yeah,
like
yeah.
side cradling a dog.
She was boiling milk for it in a bottle, though.
Yeah, that's
I don't know.
weird.
I like
Bottle
milk.
feed a 2-year-old.
I mean, it was.
he
Yeah,
just
actually,
likes
yeah, I
warm
think so.
milk.
I think you still give 2-year-olds bottles.
I don't think.
The milk
I'm trying
in
to
this
remember
movie
my niece and nephew,
confuses
but-
me.
It might have been going
Yeah.
in a sippy cup.
Yeah,
But why boil it in the bottle?
because it's
That's what
everybody
you do.
likes.
You boil milk.
You boil milk.
You do boil milk. That's
In a
a,
bottle?
yeah. Yeah, that's 100% a thing.
Okay.
Is warm milk? All right, it is because it's boob milk, right? Is it warm when it's out of the boob,
Yes.
and that's
I
why you
imagine
boil?
it's body temperature.
That's
body
why.
temp.
Okay, and
That's
that's,
why
why
you
drink
boil
warm
the-
You don't have
milk.
an ice box
Guys,
in your chest.
You boil the milk, and then
Uh-huh.
you to test it to make sure it's too hot. You put a couple drops on your back of
Right.
your
Oh,
hand, and
sure.
you're
Yeah,
like,
okay.
"Oh, it's not.
But
It's
no,
too hot."
I'm
or
just talking
da-da-da.
about the warm milk to help people sleep because adults do that too. It's because it reminds them of,
Yeah.
of boob milk.
Maniacs
so they
do
go
that.
To sleep.
Yeah.
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 Maniacs.
Maniacs.
It's weird. I'm like, I drink milk to wake up in the morning. That's a weird
Yeah, I've never drank.
realization.
Maybe as a kid I drank warm milk. I'm pretty sure my parents did it, but I'm wondering if they did it because we saw it in a movie and asked for it or something. Like if this is a
That'd be weird.
like a
I for sure started asking
self-perpetuating-
for cinnamon and chocolate milk because I saw it in a movie.
Yeah.
Can't tell you what movie. It was about a
either.
kid going off and like he lost his parents and had to live with his grandma, and his grandma made him chocolate milk and put cinnamon in it, and he was just like, "My mom used to do that," and she's just like, "Oh, I taught her that." That's the only scene. I don't remember what the movie was.
Maybe the witches.
Maybe
I
the
don't know.
witches.
Maybe Elijah Wood or a kid that looks similar to
The
him.
Good Son. It's
One of
the
those.
Good Son.
It might be the good son.
Yeah, that could be the Good Son. Good movie.
So that was a wrinkle in fucking time.
Yeah,
If you have kids, I would say go see it. If you like Oprah, go
Yeah,
see
go-
it.
go
Like
fuck up your
gigantic
kids.
Oprahs.
Go give your kids some weird ass memories.
And if you like edibles, go see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this movie's not going to do well, but that it's going to be like a huge generational thing for kids that are growing up now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't turn it off if I saw it on TV. I'd be like, oh yeah, like that movie. It's like pretty. It's
Depends.
also beautiful. Like if you like
It is,
special
yeah.
effects,
It does.
it's a beautiful
Yeah,
movie.
that
It is
lettuce
it is
monster
a great
looked great.
looking film.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked all the weird camera angles. I thought that felt unique. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, apparently she was supposed to originally do Black Panther.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then got
I would
switched
like
out.
to see that.
So now in my head, I'm like,
Did they like? Did
what if
she
this
choose
is-
this, or did they like? No, you're doing Wrinkle in Time now.
I don't
Do this
know. I
batshit
don't
crazy
remember
film.
what the stuff behind the scenes was, but I know like it was like early stuff. Like Ava was supposed to do Black Panther.
Oh, okay.
And then something switched around or whatever, and then she got this. So in my head now, I'm imagining what Black Panther would have looked like with these visuals, and that would have
It's-
been cool.
Yeah, it's hard to say because
But,
I don't
yeah.
know how much of this was the director, or how much of it was the producers.
Yeah, exactly.
And the screenplay, where it felt like a kind of a disjointed film that there was definitely some push and pull over. I think, just because I mean this film, I heard this book was notorious of like an unfilmable book kind of situation where no one.
Yeah, I need to
really
read it
thought-
now.
they could make it.
And then go, what did they do?
I'm sure a lot of it was the studio being like, we can't get too weird. And if I were directing this, I would be like, no, let's make it weirder.
Make it weirder.
We're going to make this the craziest fucking kids movie anyone's ever seen.
And I want,
get headier with it. Like, I was just like, oh, you're trying with the science and you're trying. I'm like, just go for it. Put a wrinkle in my brain. Yeah. Like, make me go like, what the
wrinkle my shit up.
Like, they did it a little bit with Oprah going there. Like, you know how long, like, going through how much the universe and how much time had to pass for, like, everything to happen to get to the moment where you were made. Like,
right.
Like, all of that. I was like, that's cool. More of that. Like, like push that thought further. Because that's some good brain wrinkly stuff. And I feel like if you're like 5 and you heard that, you'd be like, whoa.
Yeah, blow some fucking 5-year-olds' minds.
Blown right the fuck apart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anybody have anything more to say about this movie?
It's pretty.
Okay. Star, where can we find you?
You could find me on Twitter at StarlineX, on Twitch as also StarlineX now. I'm streaming games. And I also have another podcast called We Stay Late with a couple of my former coworkers that we do once a week.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, all right, time. Oh, man, I want to...
Wrinkle in time.
I gotta go watch Labyrinth now.
Ooh, can we watch Labyrinth?
I don't see why not.